we ended Monday's show with talking about the defense for Alabama and the things that need to be cleaned up on that side of the football. Of course, you guys as fans blew us up with phone calls talking about your growing concerns about the defense, your growing concerns when you talk about Pete Golding, and you guys blew us up with phone calls. So to me, I want to ask this question right now. I really want to ask this question right now. I know I'm going to take the first crack at answering it, but I want to pose this question to you, the fans, and when we come back from the first break, I want you guys ringing the phone lines off the hook with your thoughts on this. So the question is, in your mind as a fan, what does Pete Golding have to do, or what should Pete Golding do, or what is going to be, what do you have in demand right now of Pete Golding in terms of this week's matchup against Mississippi, against Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi, Vaught Hemingway Stadium this weekend? What does Pete Golding have to do to bring some calmness, to bring some assurance to you as a fan that he can run this defense? He's more than capable of coaching this defense under the overarching umbrella that is Nick Saban for the Crimson Tide. So that's just my question for you. Like, what does Pete Golding have to do in order to put you in a sense of ease, a better state of mind here, as an Alabama football fan? Because to me, simply just to me, he is not doing a just terrible job. I mean, of course, there are some things that Bama's got to clean up on that side of the football, but not doing just a complete terrible job here. I go back to what I mentioned on Monday. If you take away 4 botched plays, 4 blown coverage plays where Alabama is not keying in or focusing in on the running back out the backfield, it's only given up 9.5 points per game, and it's a top 5, top 10 scoring defense in college football versus giving up 21.5 points per game. So being able to focus in on the running back coming out the backfield, which is part of that communication and execution that I spoke on, but then also being able to wrap up, and tackle guys. Alabama has a lot of players on this roster that can just line up and hit you, but can they bring the hands, bring the arms, wrap up, and finish the play? And Coach Saban in practice, he's always got the corners and safeties lined up, performing tackle drills. So for Alabama, being able to finish the play. Now, of course, last year defensively, Alabama gave up 18.6 points per game, 324.4 yards per game, and you guys were like, this is terrible, this is awful, this is the worst we have ever seen an Alabama defense look like. This is Bama, this is no excuse, like we crave perfection, like you got to get this thing right. So last year, there was a lot of uproar about the defense. The fire Pete Golding hashtag was all over Twitter. He sucks. Get him out of here. He's bad. He's awful. He's terrible. Worst thing ever to put on the defense in terms of coaching. Get Pete Golding out of here. If you looked at a lot of the stuff on Twitter, on social media, that was, of course, the hashtag that was going around. Now, of course, for some of you, it was, yes, it looks bad, but think about it like this. Like, Golding didn't have Dylan Moses last year, didn't have Joshua McMillan the whole season last year, didn't have Brian Ray for 10 games last year. DJ Dale got hurt and didn't play the final 3 games of the season. So while people looked at the injuries as part of the issue, a bunch of you still said, that's still no excuse. We Bama. Still no excuse. 2017, Pruitt was down 11 million linebackers, and we still found a way to win a national championship with that team. So still no excuse there. But you still had the list of some that said, well, hey, you lost both of your inside linebackers, both of your guys that call the middle of the defense or set those calls into motion. That's a big deal. So at the end of the day, most people gave, Golding a pass for the injuries that happened. So now you come back this season and Alabama giving up 21.5 points per game, those fire Pete Golding hashtags have come back up. He's awful. He ain't doing his job. Dylan Moses came back. McMillan came back. Everybody came back. This defense is supposed to be gangbusters, knocking guys on their butt, shutting everybody out. You know, they gave up 19 points to a trash Missouri team and 24 points to a mediocre Kellen Mond and that Texas A&M team. Get Pete Golding out of here. He ain't doing the job. He ain't cutting the mustard. I mean, Kirby Smart had his flaws, but it way better than this. I mean, Jeremy Pruitt had his flaws, but it's never been that bad. It's never been this bad, people. Saying this right now here. Saying this right now. So, in your mind, what does Pete Golding need to do to kind of put you in a state of mind to where you feel like, okay, he can do this. He can coach this defense. He can operate this defense. He can execute this defense. Because I'm gonna just say this right now. This year is a very different, strange year, right? Because I'm gonna start off like this. Dylan Moses is in charge of making the first initial call in the second on the defense. He's in charge of making the first initial call. But there are other guys on defense that after Moses makes the first call, they have to make calls as well to their respective side of the field, right? And in the secondary here, Jordan Battle, who's going to be a really, really good safety in years to come for Alabama. Now, of course, he's got to be able to wrap up, finish the plays, make tackles, wrap up. But he's going to be really good here in years to come for Alabama. This is Jordan Battle's first year calling the plays from his safety position on that back end. Xavier McKinney did it last year. This is Jordan Battle's first time ever doing this. And then you look at, with the exception of Patrick Surtain, who's played in 30 games, 28 as a starter, Josh Jobe, Daniel Wright, Malachi Moore, who's playing in the most important, crucial, pivotal position in a Nick Saban defense at nickel at that star role, Malachi Moore. And so you got Josh Jobe, Daniel Wright, Malachi Moore, Jordan Battle. All four of these guys, this is their first year not only just starting, but having critical roles. Not only just starting, but doing critical things within the secondary. So having a spring would have been very, very huge for all four of these young men in terms of working out the kinks, getting some things situated, getting some things in order, really being better prepared. Having a spring would have been better for all four of those guys. And not only just that, you know, being able to play some cupcake opponents would have helped all four of these guys, because now it is baptism by fire, right? It is baptism by fire. You're playing 10 SEC, 10 conference games to where there's no easy win, there's no easy matchup, there's no, roll out of bed. It's gut check, gut check, gut check, gut check every single week, because you're playing against the SEC every single week. And these guys are having to learn on the cusp, learn on the fly, taking a crash course, if you will. So this has been a very different, weird season in the case of Alabama didn't get the opportunity to prepare the way it would like to prepare. Yes, it had a fall camp, but even the fall camp was not a traditional, usual, typical fall camp. So no spring, not traditional, typical fall camp. So once again, these guys, especially these four of the secondary, first year as starters, first year making calls, first year handling major responsibility. It's going to take a minute here, for these guys to gel the way they need to. The talent's there, the ability is there. It's just going to take some time, for these guys to gel. And even when you look at one Dylan Moses, yes, Dylan has playing experience, but keep in mind, Dylan is coming back off a season-ending knee injury. He missed a whole year of football. Think about that. Missed a whole year of football. So now he has to even reteach himself and relearn things himself in terms of being on the field. Because when you miss a whole year on the field, you miss a lot of scheme, you miss a lot of formation, you miss a lot of looks, you miss a lot of reps, you miss a lot of those opportunities. So now Dylan, even with the experience he has, because he missed a full year, now he's got to retrain, his mind on the field. He's got to retrain his body on the field. And once again, he will be fine. Alabama's defense is going to be fine. It's just having to be able to gel together on the field, and that gelling will definitely get there. That gelling will definitely get in key here and in tune. But for you as fans, the question is, what would it take for you? What does Pete Golding have to do for you as a fan to put you at ease, to put you in the frame of mind of, okay, he can run this defense, he can operate this defense, he can orchestrate this defense. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit there on Pete. What does he have to do starting this week against Ole Miss? Granted, if we have the game against Ole Miss, and what does he have to do, from this game moving forward to put you as a fan in a situation where you feel comfortable, or you feel a bit better, I should say, with him orchestrating this defense under Coach Saban. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, just getting started. When we get back, I want those phones ringing off the hook, because it's time to entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your questions, your ideas, your vents on Coach Golding. Bring them in. What do you have to say about it? What does he need to do, in your opinion? We'll talk about it after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99, and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.